Now, I will admit that I have a very big bias when it comes to the quarterback position. Putting it out there. I have an incredibly big bias to the quarterback position. In terms of when I look at the quarterback position for any team, I'm always looking bigger picture. Sometimes only exclusively at the future, not so much at the present and at the current moment. And that especially holds true when a team has invested a high draft pick, or in a lot of cases, a first-round pick on a young quarterback. And the reason I say that is for a couple of things. Number one, if you're taking a quarterback that high, you already know you do not have that answer in your organization current state. You know you are not good at the position long term, unless you're the Packers potentially. And then you draft a young quarterback because you know you got a bunch of scrubs in the room and you're looking to upgrade that position. It's the most important position in the game. So by taking a quarterback in the first round, you are either admitting, A, that we don't have that dude now, or in a year or two, you're going to need to have that dude, and you're taking your swing, you're taking your chances. You know that. And you know another reason that you're taking that quarterback in the first round is, at least in terms of your scouting department, your front office, your general manager, your head coach, assuming all of them are working in concert, that you see something in that young man that makes you believe that they can be the face of the franchise. If you don't think a quarterback can be the face of the franchise, you're not drafting him in the first round. Now, obviously, a number of teams get it wrong in terms of the quarterbacks they take in round one, but you have to know that at least based off of their perspective and their belief, they think that guy is going to be the face of the franchise. You know that. They may be wrong, but that's what they think, and you know that. And you also know that when you draft a quarterback in the first round in particular, to be able to get them on a much cheaper, like a below market, when you think about the open market, you look at some of the quarterback deals you've seen handed out over the past year, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers. You know that to be able to get a young quarterback on a rookie scale contract for 3, 4, or 5 seasons is an incredible boon and bonus to the organization. It means that you've got a couple of different ways you could skin the cat in terms of having potentially a championship window and building a championship team. And one place you don't have to have a ton of resources invested is the quarterback position. So, for a number of different reasons, when I look at the quarterback position, to me, unless you have a clearly established person that is so much better and it's obvious, you have to start the rookie quarterback. This whole notion of, well, they'll learn sitting on the bench and watching is dumb. That's dumb. That's dated thinking. It's not even connected to reality. The best way for a young quarterback to learn is to actually practice their craft by playing live games. Period. Argue against the wall. I don't care. Argue with the wall. If you think it's better to learn watching a clipboard than playing, then I can't really appeal to you here because you're just not thinking logically. So I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers with Mitchell Trubisky, and I kind of chuckle inside because Steelers fans are finding out who Mitchell Trubisky is. And some of them know who Mitchell Trubisky is because they're not dumb. But then, you get caught up in the buzz of the offseason and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, maybe the Bears are just idiots, so they don't know the quarterback position. That's entirely true. Matt Nagy was a numbskull. That's entirely true. So maybe you think bringing him into a vastly better organization with a vastly better head coach in Mike Tomlin, that they're going to get more out of Mitchell Trubisky. But the reality is Mitchell Trubisky is who Mitchell Trubisky is. And if you're a Steelers fan, you've seen that the first 2 games. He's got some athleticism. He can move, but it's not a major weapon that he uses in his game a whole lot. He's got some arm talent, but it's certainly not special or elite. Meanwhile, his mechanics are inconsistent as hell. His ability to diagnose and read defenses is bad. His ability to process what he sees is really bad at times. His decision-making in terms of his ability to react quickly is god-awful. And his accuracy is very hit or miss. And it's a lot of check down and short crap. That's who Mitchell Trubisky is. And as much as Steelers fans might want to blame offensive coordinator, was it Matt Canada? Oh, sure, certainly the play calling isn't good the first 2 weeks for the Steelers. That's true. But maybe the play calling isn't very good because the quarterback you have isn't very good. And what I cannot understand for the life of me, looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're 1-1. In 2 games as a starting quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky has failed to reach 200 yards passing. Really, the only reason you won in week 1 was because Burrow and the Bengals were so bad and you got so many turnovers that you were able to somewhat capitalize on. And even then, it took until the very last moment of overtime for you to win that game. You have to be honest about the situation and say, what is so special that Mitchell Trubisky brings to the table that a Kenny Pickett could not? Kenny Pickett is the guy that you're looking to be the future of the franchise. Mitchell Trubisky is not. Mitchell Trubisky is not so far ahead or so much better than Kenny Pickett that it makes any type of damn sense whatsoever to be starting him over Kenny Pickett. You really look at the numbers from the first 2 games, just sort of statistical analysis alone, and you think that you look at Sunday's game against the Patriots, and you think Kenny Pickett was going to be so much worse than 21 for 38 for 194 yards and a touchdown? You really think Pickett was going to be that much worse? He might not have been any better, but he wouldn't have been much worse, and that's the point. If this was a situation, let's say, where you drafted a young quarterback, but you still had Big Ben there. Big Ben comes with the history and the lineage. He's led the team to 3 Super Bowl appearances, won 2 Super Bowls. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. You kind of have to ride up the string with him. So if you drafted the Pittsburgh guy, Kenny Pickett, and he sat a year behind Big Ben, that makes sense. Even if you have to say at some point last year, like, Big Ben was washed and he needs to step aside, at least you get the premise of why you would start a Big Ben over Kenny Pickett. It does not make any sense, however, to start a Mitchell Trubisky over a Kenny Pickett. So many of these head coaches in the NFL get this so wrong. They're afraid of mistakes, so they don't go with the young quarterback. Well, yes, the young quarterback's going to make mistakes, but so are some of these middling veterans like Mitchell Trubisky. The difference is that Mitchell Trubisky is going to make the same middling mistakes that he made as a rookie fucking 6 seasons ago. Whereas Kenny Pickett could learn and grow and develop. He has more upside. He has more potential. At the end of the day, with all other things being equal, if it is anywhere in the ballpark of being close between the veteran quarterback and the young quarterback, you always go with the young quarterback. Because at the end of the season, that middling veteran is still going to be the same middling veteran. And while the rookie, even if they're just a small step or a little bit behind the middling veteran in week 1 in terms of their overall, performance level, by the end of the year, if they've progressed at all, they're going to be ahead of the middling quarterback, and your team's not only going to be better off for that year, but they're going to be better off for the future. Continuing to start Mitchell Trubisky is just stupid stubbornness that, frankly, I look at Mike Tomlin, a really good head coach, and say, you should fucking know better. Don't be stubborn. There's no reason to be. And in fact, you're doing the organization a disservice by continuing to not give Kenny Pickett live game reps. I look at the Chicago Bears last year, learn from them, perfect example. They draft Justin Fields in the first round, but they stubbornly stuck with Andy Dalton's going to be our week 1 starter, which was fucking dumb. All that did was take away valuable in-game reps and experience from Justin Fields, and is one of many contributing factors as to why heading into 2022, there were a lot of questions around Justin Fields, and you didn't know what he had or what he could bring consistently because he didn't get enough opportunities. Some of that due to injury, but at the end of the day, some of that is due to Matt Nagy being a fucking numbskull and starting the veteran. What the hell was Dalton going to do that Fields couldn't? Fields, however, could do things that Dalton couldn't. Same as Kenny Pickett can do things that Trubisky can't. There's nothing that Trubisky can do that Pickett can't. There are things that Kenny Pickett can do that Trubisky can't. And right now you look at the Steelers, you're 1-1 in a division that is gettable. You have to go with the young guy. There is no good argument to make for starting Mitchell Trubisky another game over Kenny Pickett. To which you might say, well, the counter could be, and shit, they'll sit there and make Mason Rudolph the starting quarterback. And they fucking would, wouldn't they? Another example of a guy you've seen plenty of. You know what he is, and more importantly, what he isn't. You drafted Kenny Pickett in round 1 of a weaker quarterback class because you believed that he was going to be the future face of the franchise. You thought he had it. It is time to find out if he have it or not. Because if you see some signs here in 2022 that he has it, it changes the entire trajectory of that Steelers organization going into 2023 and beyond. And that's what a really good coach should be thinking about. Not in the moment trying to pathetically win games, be a middle team. You could do the same shit with the rookie quarterback. I just even dispute the notion that a guy like Trubisky will give you the best chance to win over Pickett. He doesn't. And even if you want to believe that he does, okay, so if you started Kenny Pickett and you win 7 games versus you start Mitchell Trubisky and you win 9, which season would you rather have? I'd much rather have the season where you won 7 and Pickett played all the games because that's giving him valuable in-game reps. You're able to better evaluate whether he could be the future face of the franchise or not. You've got to find out. You've got to know. And you cannot possibly do that with him playing fucking clipboard holder as the third quarterback on the damn bench and active on game days. The Steelers need to start Kenny Pickett and do it now. You can keep believing, hoping, wishing, and wanting for Mitchell Trubisky to be anything other than Mitchell Trubisky, but it's not going to happen. He may have a game where he fools you because he shows you a couple of things and you're like, oh wow, if he could do this more. He's not going to do it more. His pocket presence is never going to get better. His mechanics are always going to be hit or miss. His accuracy is always going to be hit or miss. His ability to read the field, react to what he sees, is always going to be subpar. It has been his previous 5 seasons. There's no reason it's changed now, and through 2 games you've seen that. Mitchell Trubisky is a backup quarterback in the NFL, period. It's time to coach to the positional talent that you have, Mike Tomlin. Put Trubisky in the role that he belongs in, and put Kenny Pickett in the role that he belongs in. Kenny Pickett should be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and every game that they continue to start Trubisky does Kenny Pickett a disservice, does the Pittsburgh Steelers a disservice, and is just flat out stupid.